First Officer Kate Sullivan stood at the helm of the EFSS Meridian, watching the cosmic storm front approach through the reinforced viewport. The swirling purple-black clouds, shot through with veins of electric blue lightning, would have been beautiful if they weren't potentially lethal. Standard protocol was clear: avoid space storms at all costs. They'd claimed too many ships already. Engineering reports reactor fluctuations, Ma'am, Lieutenant Rivera called from his station. The storm's affecting our containment fields. Kate's jaw tightened. They tried to outrun the storm when their long-range sensors first picked it up, but the massive front had somehow changed direction, almost as if it were chasing them. Now they were caught at the edge of its reach, their engines straining. Divert power to the shields, she ordered, though she knew it was probably futile. 3 Centaurian vessels had been lost to similar storms in the past month alone, their advanced shielding crumpling like paper. The Galactic Council was still investigating why these strange storms had suddenly started appearing along major trade routes. The first lightning bolt struck the hull, and Kate braced for disaster. Instead, something impossible happened. The ship's reactor output suddenly spiked, not in the catastrophic way she'd expected, but in a controlled surge that sent power readings off the scale. "Ma'am," Rivera's voice cracked with disbelief. "The reactor, it's absorbing the electrical energy. Our power levels are at 130% and climbing." Kate's mind raced. The Meridian was an older Earth vessel, built with the robust shielding needed to survive their homeworld's violent weather patterns. Unlike the sleek Centaurian ships designed in their calm star system, Earth vessels had evolved from centuries of dealing with hurricanes, lightning strikes, and electromagnetic disturbances. Another bolt struck, and the ship hummed with power. The lights brightened, and Kate felt the subtle vibration of the deck plates change pitch. They weren't just surviving the storm, they were feeding off it. "Engineering, give me a full spectrum analysis," she ordered. "I want to know exactly what's happening to our systems." The next hour was a blur of data and discoveries. While other species had designed their ships to deflect or resist electromagnetic energy, Earth's vessels had been built to channel it safely away from critical systems, just like the lightning rods that still protected buildings back home. The Meridian's hull was actually conducting the energy into their power grid through the same systems designed to protect them from lightning strikes. "Send all our data to Fleet Command," Kate ordered as they emerged from the other side of the storm, their reactor charged beyond maximum capacity. "And get me Admiral Chen." The Admiral's hologram appeared moments later, her expression shifting from concern to amazement as Kate explained what had happened. "A silver lining to Earth's violent weather," Chen mused. "All those centuries of building ships to withstand our storms, we never realized we were preparing for something bigger." "The Galactic Council's been desperate for a solution to these storms," Kate said. "No other species' ships can get close enough to study them, let alone survive them. But we can do more than survive. We can use them." "Agreed." Chen's hologram flickered as she accessed something off-screen. "Effective immediately, you're being promoted to captain. The Meridian will return to Earth for retrofitting, and you'll be transferred to command the EFSS Thunderchild. We're converting her into our first dedicated storm rider." Kate felt a surge of pride. Humanity had often been viewed as newcomers to the galactic community, their technology considered primitive compared to species that had been spacefaring for millennia. But now their primitive solutions, born from surviving a hostile homeworld, might be exactly what the galaxy needed. "There are more storms gathering," Chen continued. "The Council's getting desperate. Whatever's causing them, humanity's about to show the galaxy what we can do." She smiled. "Welcome to Project Stormbringer, Captain Sullivan. Let's teach them how Earth handles bad weather." The EFS Thunderchild didn't look like any other ship in Earth's fleet. Her hull bristled with conductor spines, each one designed to attract and channel electromagnetic energy. The original smooth lines had been replaced with angular surfaces that could better direct electrical flow, making her look more like a mechanical sea creature than a spaceship. Captain Kate Sullivan walked through the retrofitted bridge, running her hand along the new crystalline displays. They'd stripped out anything that could be compromised by electrical surges and replaced it with hardy Earth tech that most species considered outdated. Sometimes, the old ways were the best ways. Final systems check complete, Captain. Commander Jack Torres reported from the science station. Those Martian conductor arrays you suggested are performing better than expected in simulations. Good. Kate settled into her command chair. Growing up in the Olympus Mons colonies teaches you a thing or two about lightning. The dust storms there make Earth's weather look tame. The ship shuddered slightly as the docking clamps released. This was it. Their first real test run after 3 weeks of retrofitting. The Thunderchild's new systems were untried, but they didn't have the luxury of extensive testing. More trade ships were being lost to the mysterious storms every week. Taking us out, Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez announced from the helm. Course set for the Carina testing grounds. They were barely an hour into their test flight when the emergency signal came through. A Meridian transport vessel, the Star Dancer, had strayed too close to a pop-up storm front. They were losing power and didn't have the engine capacity to break free. How far? Kate demanded. 20 minutes at maximum burn, Rodriguez replied. But Captain, we haven't tested the storm riding systems under real conditions yet. Kate's fingers drummed on her armrest. The safe play would be to call for another ship, one with conventional rescue capabilities. But in 20 minutes, the Star Dancer would either be torn apart or pulled deeper into the storm. They were the only ship within range that had a chance. Plot an intercept course. All hands, this is the captain speaking. Battle stations, we're about to find out what this ship can really do. The storm front loomed ahead of them, larger than the one the Meridian had encountered. Lightning arsed between cloud formations in patterns that seemed almost deliberate, and the energy readings were off the charts. Star Dancer, this is Captain Sullivan of the Thunderchild. Hold your position. We're coming to get you. The response was broken, distorted. Shields failing. Can't survive much longer. Torres, give me everything you've got on those conductor arrays. Rodriguez, take us in, right through the heart of it. Let's show them what Earth engineering can do. The first lightning strike hit them head-on. The ship shuddered, but instead of causing damage, the energy coursed through the conductor spines exactly as designed. The reactor hummed as it absorbed the power, and the crystalline displays flickered with excess energy. Power levels at 160% and holding. Torres called out. The arrays are working, Captain. We're actually drawing the lightning to us, away from the Star Dancer. Kate allowed herself a small smile. Like a cosmic lightning rod. Rodriguez, push us closer. Let's give them some breathing room. The Thunderchild moved deeper into the storm, her spines glowing with captured energy. Each lightning strike made them stronger instead of weaker, and the Star Dancer's crew watched in amazement as the human vessel deliberately attracted the deadly bolts that had been tearing their ship apart. Extending emergency docking tube, Torres reported. Ready for emergency evacuation. The rescue itself was textbook perfect, but it was what they discovered afterward that changed everything. The storm hadn't formed naturally. There were energy patterns that suggested intelligent design, and readings that hinted at technologies far beyond current galactic understanding. As Kate recorded her log that evening, she couldn't shake the feeling that they'd stumbled onto something bigger than a simple rescue mission. Someone or something was creating these storms, and humanity's primitive lightning handling technology had just made them the only species capable of fighting back. Computer, encrypt and send the following to Admiral Chen. The storms aren't natural. Someone's weaponizing the cosmos itself. Request permission to investigate further. She paused, then added, looks like the weather report calls for thunder. The holographic display in the Thunderchild's tactical room showed dozens of storm formations across known space, far too many to be natural. Captain Kate Sullivan studied the pattern with growing unease as Commander Torres highlighted another anomaly. There's a clear strategy here, Torres said, manipulating the display to show trade route overlays. The storms are appearing along shipping lanes, but not randomly. They're systematically cutting off specific sectors, like a noose tightening around the Galactic Council's primary supply chains. Kate watched as he played the pattern forward in time. They're herding commercial traffic into predetermined corridors. The question is, why? Before Torres could respond, the tactical room's door slid open. Lieutenant Rodriguez rushed in, her face pale. "Captain, you need to see this. We've decoded part of the energy signature from the last storm." The lieutenant plugged a data crystal into the holographic display. The storm map disappeared, replaced by a cascading series of what looked like electrical pulses. But as the computer processed the data, patterns emerged within the chaos, deliberate signals. "It's communication," Kate breathed. "The storms themselves are transmitting data." "Not just data," Rodriguez said, highlighting a section of the pattern. "These are commands, tactical coordinates. The storms aren't just weapons. They're an invasion force." The revelation hit Kate like a physical blow. Their mysterious enemy wasn't simply disrupting trade. They were using the storms as both a weapon and a means of covert communication. And based on the complexity of the energy patterns, they were dealing with beings that understood electromagnetic forces on a fundamental level. A priority alert flashed across the display. Admiral Chen's hologram materialized in the tactical room, her expression grim. "Captain Sullivan, I assume you've made the same discovery we have." "The Vorkath," Kate said, the name sending a chill through the room. The energy-based species had been considered little more than a myth, a bogeyman story told in spacer bars. "They're real. Very real," Chen confirmed. "And now we know why no one's ever been able to prove their existence. They'd been hiding in plain sight, masquerading as natural phenomena. The storms aren't just their weapons, they're their bodies." Torres swore softly. "That's why conventional weapons and shields are useless. We're not fighting ships, we're fighting living electromagnetic beings." "But why now?" Kate asked. "Why reveal themselves?" "Because they're ready." Chen's hologram flickered as she transmitted new data. "Our xenobiologists just finished analyzing the pattern of their attacks. The Vorkath aren't just attacking shipping lanes. They're systematically eliminating any species whose technology could detect or resist them. They've been planning this for centuries." The tactical display updated, showing projected storm patterns. The Vorkath were creating a massive web of electromagnetic disturbances that would make conventional space travel impossible. Any ship caught in their net would be at their mercy. "There's more," Rodriguez interjected, her hands flying over the console. "The storm we survived last week. Our medical scans showed something unexpected. Human bodies are generating some kind of natural electromagnetic field. It's weak, but it's there, like an echo of Earth's magnetic field that got written into our DNA." Kate's mind raced. "That's why we can survive closer to the storms than other species. We evolved on a planet with constant electromagnetic activity. Our bodies adapted." "Precisely," Chen said. "And that makes us the only species capable of fighting back. The Galactic Council has officially requested our help. As of now, Earth's Thunder Fleet is the front line in a war most people don't even know is happening." Kate studied the tactical display, watching the storm formations grow and spread. They had ships that could survive the storms, crews that could physically withstand electromagnetic assault, and centuries of experience dealing with electrical phenomena. But they were also facing an enemy that could literally become one with the cosmos itself. "Admiral," she said, her voice firm, "request permission to take the Thunderchild deep into Vorkath territory. If they're using the storms to communicate, maybe we can use that same network to track them back to their source." Chen nodded. "Permission granted, Captain. Show these energy beings why they should have paid more attention to that little storm-racked planet in the galactic backwater. It's time to bring the thunder." Storm front approaching. Portal class intensity. Rodriguez's voice cut through the battle station's klaxon as the Thunderchild faced the largest electromagnetic disturbance they'd yet encountered. The swirling mass of energy ahead of them made previous storms look like static electricity. Captain Sullivan gripped her command chair. Status of the experimental shield modifications. Crystalline matrix is holding, Torres reported from his station. The hull's bioelectric field is matching storm frequencies just like we theorized. We're literally becoming part of the storm, Captain. The technology they were testing had come from an unlikely source, electric eels from Earth's oceans. The ability to generate and channel electromagnetic fields wasn't unique to humans. Earth's wildlife had been doing it for millions of years. The Thunderchild's hull now mimicked that natural capability on a massive scale. Multiple Vorkath energy signatures detected, the tactical officer announced. They're joining with the storm formations, becoming them. Kate watched as brilliant streams of living electricity wove through the storm clouds. The Vorkath moved with terrible beauty, their energy-based forms finally visible now that they no longer needed to hide. They were magnificent and terrifying, and they were about to learn that humanity had some tricks of their own. Initiate Operation Thunder Run, Kate ordered. Deploy the pulse buoys. Across the ship, crews jumped into action. The Thunderchild's upgraded launch tubes fired a series of specialized devices into the storm. Each buoy contained a piece of technology that had protected Earth's cities for centuries. Tesla coils, redesigned for space warfare. Buoys in position, Torres confirmed. Creating electromagnetic containment net. Now, the effect was immediate and dramatic. The buoys activated in sequence, generating opposing electrical fields that disrupted the Vorkath's storm patterns. The alien beings reacted with visible confusion as their carefully constructed energy matrices began to unravel. They didn't expect anyone to understand storm dynamics this well, Kate said, allowing herself a grim smile. Take us in. Full power to the bioelectric drive. The Thunderchild surged forward, her hull crackling with captured energy. Instead of trying to resist the storm, they became part of it, riding the electromagnetic currents like a surfer catching a wave. Centuries of dealing with Earth's volatile weather had taught humanity something the Vorkath had overlooked. You don't fight a storm, you work with it. Multiple Vorkath signatures converging on our position, Tactical reported. They're trying to overwhelm our containment field. Let them come, Kate ordered. Activate the pulse cannon. The weapon was another piece of modified Earth technology, a scaled-up version of the electromagnetic pulse generators used in their planetary defense systems. As the Vorkath energy beings swooped toward them, the Thunderchild released a precisely tuned electromagnetic pulse that scattered their formation like leaves in a hurricane. Direct hits. Torres shouted over the ship's groaning hull. Their energy patterns are destabilizing. They've never encountered focused EM weapons before. Kate watched as the Vorkath retreated, their brilliant forms flickering with uncertainty. They thought their mastery of electromagnetic forces made them invincible. They never considered that a primitive biological species might understand those same forces. But their victory was short-lived. New alarms blared as massive energy readings appeared on their sensors. Captain, Rodriguez's voice was tense. We're detecting some kind of quantum surge. The Vorkath they're combining their forms, creating something bigger. The storm around them intensified as dozens of Vorkath merged into a single, massive entity. The resulting energy beast dwarfed the Thunderchild, its form resembling a cosmic storm dragon composed of pure lightning. Well, Kate said, keeping her voice steady for the crew's benefit, looks like they can adapt too. All hands, prepare for close-quarters storm combat. Let's show them why Earth's thunderstorms are feared across the galaxy. As the massive Vorkath entity moved to engage them, Kate recalled something her grandfather used to say during the worst storms back home. Lightning only strikes if you let it catch you. The Thunderchild might be outgunned, but they had something the Vorkath didn't. Generations of experience playing hide and seek with the deadliest forces nature could throw at them. Helm, plot an intercept course, she ordered. Let's teach these energy beings about Earth's thunder. The merged Vorkath entity filled the Thunderchild's view screen, its lightning dragon form writhing through space. But Captain Sullivan wasn't watching the display. Her eyes were closed, hands relaxed on her command chair, feeling something she'd never experienced before. "Captain," Taurus's concerned voice barely registered. "Are you?" "I can feel them," Kate said softly, her mind swimming with new sensations. "The storms, the energy patterns, they're like music." Her eyes snapped open. "Everyone who grew up on Earth. Can you feel it?" The human crew members exchanged glances, then one by one, they nodded. Generations of living under Earth's electromagnetic field had done more than just make them resistant to electrical phenomena. It had given them a sixth sense they never knew they had. The Vorkath aren't just attacking, Kate realized. They're communicating. Those energy patterns we detected, their language. Rodriguez's hands flew across her console. "Confirming, Captain. Our brainwave patterns are actually resonating with the storm frequencies. It's like we're naturally tuned to their wavelength." The massive energy dragon struck, sending a bolt of pure plasma toward the Thunderchild. But Kate had felt it coming. "Evasive pattern Delta 7. She ordered, and the ship rolled away seconds before impact. "How did you know?" Torres began. "The same way you can feel a thunderstorm coming before it hits," Kate replied. "Earth taught us more than we realized. Engineering, reroute power to the neural interfaces. Let's amplify what we're feeling." As the crew connected to the ship's newly modified systems, their innate sensitivity to electromagnetic fields increased exponentially. The Thunderchild became more than a vessel. It became an extension of their evolutionary heritage. The Vorkath entity attacked again, but this time they were ready. Kate didn't need instruments to track its movements. She could feel its intentions rippling through space like pressure changes before a storm. "They're not used to prey that can sense them coming," she said. "Tactical, target their energy matrix with a focused pulse burst. Time it with their next attack." The timing was perfect. As the entity gathered energy for another strike, the Thunderchild's pulse weapons disrupted its concentration. The massive form wavered, its carefully maintained cohesion beginning to fail. But the victory was short-lived. Across 3 sectors, more Vorkath began to merge, forming additional energy leviathans. The neural interface filled the crew's minds with a cascade of electromagnetic signatures. "They're adapting," Torres reported grimly, "creating multiple entities to overwhelm our sensitivity." Kate felt a new pattern emerging in the chaos, a familiar one. "No," she said, a smile spreading across her face. "They're making a mistake. Look at the formation they're creating." The tactical display showed the energy beings arranging themselves in a distinctive pattern. To most species, it would appear random, but to humans who had studied Earth's weather patterns, "It's a supercell structure," Rodriguez breathed. "They're actually forming a spaceborne thunderstorm system." "Exactly," Kate said. "And what's the one thing every storm chaser knows about supercells?" Torres's eyes lit up. "They all have a weak point, the inflow notch. Plot a course through their formation," Kate ordered, "right where a supercell would be most vulnerable. They might be masters of electromagnetic energy, but we've been studying storm dynamics since we first looked up at the sky." The Thunderchild charged forward, its hull crackling with captured energy. The Vorkath entities moved to intercept, but their very formation, copied from the most powerful storm structure they'd observed, worked against them. "They wanted to use our planet's weather as a weapon," Kate said as they pierced the heart of the formation. "Instead, they gave us the key to beating them." Sometimes the best defense isn't technology, it's understanding. As the Thunderchild broke through the Vorkath battle line, Kate felt something new in the electromagnetic patterns around them. Uncertainty. For the first time, the energy beings faced an enemy that didn't just survive their storms, but understood them on a fundamental level. "Send word to the fleet," she ordered. "Tell them we found the Vorkath's weakness. They think like storms, so they can be predicted like storms. It's time to show the galaxy why Earth's storm runners are the best in the business. The Perseus arm blazed with unnatural light as the largest electromagnetic storm system ever recorded raged across 3 sectors. At its heart, the Thunderchild pursued a desperate gambit based on centuries-old wisdom from Earth's storm shelters. Hull integrity at 47%. Torres called out over the groaning of stressed metal. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Kate Sullivan studied the tactical display, where the Vorkath's massive storm engine pulsed like a malevolent star. They'd fought their way through 3 layers of defense, only to find themselves trapped in what amounted to a cosmic hurricane. "Status of the fleet," she demanded, gripping her chair as another energy wave rocked the ship. "The Storm Chaser and Tempest are holding position at the outer bands," Rodriguez reported. "Lightning Rider is gone, Captain. They couldn't maintain their electromagnetic shield." Kate closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the lives lost. But there was no time for grief. Not with the storm engine capable of generating pulses that could sterilize entire star systems. "What we need," she said slowly, remembering summer days spent in her grandmother's storm cellar in Oklahoma, "is an eye wall." Torres looked up sharply. "Captain, every hurricane has an eye. A calm center." The Vorkath based this weapon on the most powerful storms they could find. They copied Earth's hurricanes without understanding their fundamental weakness. She opened a channel to the remaining ships. "All vessels, this is Captain Sullivan. Execute formation pattern Tornado 7. We're going to create our own eye wall." The human ships moved into position, their modified hulls channeling and redirecting the electromagnetic energy around them. It was like trying to redirect a river with their bare hands, but they had something the Vorkath didn't: the inherited knowledge of countless generations who had learned to survive Earth's fury. "Energy readings are shifting," Rodriguez reported, excitement creeping into her voice. "The storm's rotation is responding to our interference." Kate nodded. "Just like a real hurricane. The eye wall is the key to the whole system. Disrupt it enough." Multiple Vorkath entities approaching. Tactical's warning was almost lost in a fresh barrage of energy bolts. But Kate had been waiting for this. They're protecting the storm engine's core rotation. All ships, push harder. Force that eye wall to form. The combined power of the human fleet, each ship acting like a colossal lightning rod, began to affect the massive storm. Slowly, impossibly, a clear space began to form at the center of the maelstrom. "They didn't expect this," Kate said, watching the Vorkath energy beings react with increasing desperation. "They thought they were creating the perfect weapon, but they copied their design from a planet where life evolved to survive such storms. Earth taught us that every storm, no matter how powerful, follows rules." A new alarm blared. "Captain," Torres shouted. "The storm engine. It's trying to compensate. Power readings are off the scale." Through the neural interface, Kate felt the massive energy buildup. The Vorkath were pouring everything they had into maintaining their weapons' integrity. But in doing so, they were making another mistake. "They're trying to overwhelm us with pure power," she said. "But they're forgetting what every storm chaser knows. The stronger the storm, the more defined its eye becomes." She opened a channel to all ships. "This is it. All power to the electromagnetic deflectors. Push into the rotation with everything you've got." The human fleet surged forward as one, their combined electromagnetic fields forcing the storm's natural patterns to assert themselves. The Vorkath fought back, but they were fighting against the very laws of nature they'd tried to harness. And there, in the heart of an artificial hurricane that could devastate worlds, humanity's understanding of their own world's violent weather created something impossible: a perfect eye of calm space, leading directly to the storm engine's vulnerable core. Kate allowed herself a small smile. "Send word to Admiral Chen. Tell her we found their weak point. And tell her to send every ship she can spare. Because we're about to teach the Vorkath why humans never really tamed our world's storms. We learned to work with them instead. Before them, The path to victory lay clear and calm, surrounded by the fury of a cosmic hurricane. They had created order from chaos, using the very forces the Vorkath thought would destroy them. "Take us in," Kate ordered. "Let's show them what storm runners can really do." The eye of the storm held, a perfect cylinder of calm cutting through chaos. The Thunderchild led the fleet toward the storm engine's core, where pulses of raw energy painted space in sheets of lightning. Behind them, 3 more Earth vessels maintained the artificial eye wall, their crews straining against the cosmic forces they'd learned to manipulate. Multiple Vorkath signatures converging, Torres reported, his hands dancing across the crystalline controls. They're changing formation. This is different from anything we've seen. Kate watched through both instruments and the neural interface as their enemies transformed. The Vorkath weren't just merging anymore. They were fragmenting, splitting into thousands of smaller energy beings that swarmed like lightning sprites in Earth's upper atmosphere. "They're trying to overwhelm our predictive abilities," she realized. Too many small patterns instead of one large one. The swarm struck without warning. Countless energy tendrils lashed against the Thunderchild's shields, each one probing for weakness. The ship shuddered under the assault. Shield integrity failing. Rodriguez called out, "The frequency variations are too chaotic to match." Kate closed her eyes, letting the neural interface fill her mind with electromagnetic patterns. There was something familiar about the attack, something she'd seen before. Route emergency power to the neural net. All hands, focus on the patterns. Don't try to track individual strikes. Feel the whole storm. The human crew members linked through the ship's systems, their Earth-evolved sensitivity to electromagnetic fields working in concert. And there it was, the pattern hidden in chaos. "It's like sheep lightning," Kate said, eyes snapping open. The individual bolts look random, but they're all connected to the same charge center. Tactical, target these coordinates. The Thunderchild's pulse cannons fired, not at the visible energy beings, but at a point in space where their pattern originated. The effect was instantaneous. The swarm scattered, their coordinated attack disrupted. "All ships, press forward," Kate ordered. "They can't maintain complex patterns while divided. Basic storm dynamics. The energy has to flow somewhere." The human fleet surged ahead, forcing their way closer to the storm engine. But the Vorkath had one last defense. The scattered energy beings began to spin, creating thousands of miniature vortexes that threatened to tear the ships apart. "Multiple cyclonic formations," Torres shouted. "They're trying to." "Let them," Kate interrupted, a fierce grin spreading across her face. "They still don't understand. Rodriguez, plot a spiral course through the vortexes. Remember your basic meteorology. Cyclones in the same hemisphere have to rotate in the same direction." As the Vorkath vortexes spun faster, trying to rip the human ships apart, they instead created a natural corridor. The very forces meant to destroy them now pulled them forward, accelerating their approach to the storm engine's core. "They copied our storms," Kate said, "but they never learned to respect them. Nature's fury can't be controlled, only understood." The storm engine loomed before them, its crystalline structure pulsing with enough power to devastate star systems. But now they could see its fatal flaw. It was designed to project energy outward, not contain it. "All ships, prepare to execute Thunderstrike," Kate ordered. "Redirect all incoming energy into the engine's core. Let's show them what happens when you store too much charge in one place." The human fleet moved as one, their modified hulls channeling the Vorkath's own energy back at them. The storm engine's core began to glow brighter, its crystalline lattice straining as it was forced to contain more power than it was designed to handle. Through the neural interface, Kate felt the Vorkath's sudden realization. And their fear. They had evolved beyond physical form, becoming beings of pure energy, but in doing so they'd forgotten a fundamental truth that every Earth child learned. Lightning always seeks the path of least resistance. "For the Lightning Rider," Kate said softly, remembering their fallen comrades. For Earth, all ships, full power to the pulse cannons. Let's bring the thunder. The storm engine's core reached critical mass just as the fleet opened fire. In the final moment before detonation, Kate felt something unexpected through the neural interface: respect. The Vorkath had finally understood what they'd overlooked. That true mastery of storms came not from power, but from wisdom passed down through generations of survivors. The core erupted, and space itself seemed to hold its breath as humanity's thunder echoed through the stars. 3 weeks after the destruction of the storm engine, Captain Kate Sullivan stood before the Galactic Council, her dress uniform adorned with the newly created Storm Runner's Cross. Through the Grand Chamber's transparent dome, the stars shone with a clarity they hadn't possessed in months. No more artificial storms obscured their light. The Vorkath survivors have made contact, she reported to the assembled representatives, but not as we expected. They're not seeking surrender terms. They're asking for asylum. A murmur ran through the chamber. The Meridian Counselor rose, his crystalline form catching the starlight. Asylum. From beings that nearly destroyed our civilization. Yes, Kate said firmly, because what we learned from the survivors changes everything we thought we knew about them. She activated a holographic display, showing an ancient star chart. The Vorkath weren't always energy beings. They evolved on a world much like Earth, one ravaged by electromagnetic storms. The display shifted, showing archaeological data recovered from the storm engine's debris. But unlike humanity, who learned to adapt to our storms, they tried to overcome them. They found a way to transform themselves into pure energy, thinking it would make them invulnerable to their world's fury. And instead, Torres added from his position beside her, they'd lost something essential. The very struggle that shaped humanity's relationship with storms, they bypassed it, became the very thing they feared, without understanding what that meant. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The Vorkath's campaign hadn't been about conquest. It had been about forcing the galaxy to evolve as they had, thinking they were offering salvation. The survivors who witnessed our battle tactics realized something profound. Kate continued. They saw how we used our understanding of storms not to control them, but to work with them. They watched us create order from chaos without sacrificing our connection to it. She gestured to a group of shimmering energy forms hovering respectfully at the chamber's edge. Vorkath observers, permitted to attend under strict monitoring. They want to learn from us. Not our technology, but our perspective. The wisdom Earth's storms taught us over countless generations. The Centaurian counselor's antennae twitched skeptically. And you believe we should trust them? Kate smiled. Trust, like respect for natural forces, has to be earned. That's why I'm proposing the establishment of the Galactic Storm Academy, a place where humans can share our storm-running knowledge with other species, including reformed Vorkath. Because the storms aren't going away, natural or artificial. The galaxy needs to be ready. The proposal sparked intense discussion among the council members. Kate felt a familiar tingle through her neural implant. The Vorkath observers were communicating, their energy patterns carrying the same mix of hope and uncertainty she'd felt in their first peaceful contact. Admiral Chen, newly appointed to the council as Earth's representative, stood. Captain Sullivan's experience with both storms and the Vorkath makes her the obvious choice to lead this academy. Her ability to bridge the gap between biological and energy beings is unprecedented. Kate hadn't expected that, but as she considered it, she felt the rightness of it. Every storm on Earth had taught humanity something valuable about respect, adaptation, and the delicate balance between resistance and acceptance. Now they could share those lessons with the galaxy. The storms that shaped Earth's history nearly broke us countless times, she addressed the council. But they also forged us into something unique, a species that doesn't just survive nature's fury, but understands it, works with it. And now we can help others do the same. She looked up at the clear stars, remembering the lightning-filled void they'd faced mere weeks ago. The Vorkath thought they could master the storms by becoming them. We mastered them by remaining who we are, children of a storm-racked world who never forgot our roots. The council's vote was unanimous. As Kate accepted her new commission, she felt the electromagnetic patterns of the Vorkath observers shift to something remarkably similar to applause. Above them, a natural aurora shimmered across the planetary shield, nature's own celebration of a new era. Earth's thunder had echoed across the stars, not as a weapon, but as a teacher. The storm had passed, and in its wake, something new was beginning to grow.